I first come to London in 1969 and I was 18 years old. I love London, I love the architecture, I love the people, I love this culture. London is so important to art, not just graffiti art, but all art. When you are known in London, you are known all over the world. In my humble opinion, Banksy has had a huge part to play in the street art, and one of my favorite places to visit is Lick Street. Seeing all the different styles of graffiti all in one place is really amazing. I was invited by Banksy to work in Lick Street. It was a great opportunity for me to show my work to the British. And I now have had the honor of creating a tank in a tribute of Ukrainian people. I wanted to say to the people that we don't forget them. It's been over 10 years since my last show in London, and now I have the pleasure of coming back to show my work to the people of London with Woodbury House. It really is the return of the ride. Wow, it's beautiful. Wow, nice place, huh?
Yeah, very chic.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow,
What do you think?
superb.
Magnifique.
Magnifique. Oh yeah.
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 That was in the Giorgio Armani show.
Oh really?
Yeah, very cool. And then obviously Standing Shadow Men. And here are some of your Bleks.
Yeah.
Yeah. They look good in here, right?
Yeah. Beautiful. Wow. When you see the detail, you can find many different art inside of the art. That's beautiful. I didn't know that he was working like that, and I work in the same state of mind than him, and I didn't know that he was working like that.
So, talking about the show,
Yeah.
this is the first time you're going to do a show
Yeah.
in London for over 10 years, which we are so happy, excited, we're overwhelmed, we are privileged, we're honoured, we're humbled. I mean, there's so many words to describe it because we've been a fan of yours for a long time.
Okay, thank you.
We represent the godfather of street art, Richard Hamilton, but now we represent the father or godfather of stencil graffiti, and I just think it's such a great fit. I know our collectors, our investors, our fanatics are just really resonate with your works. So in March, I believe there's going to be a queue right outside that door, all the way to Buckingham Palace and back, and I'm pretty sure there'll be people camping outside. The inspiration for the show, you shared some of the artworks with me on your phone, and you said that, a bit like this artwork over here, Richard Hamilton created something called the battle scene from the 80s. It's an image of a soldier at war, but as you get closer to the image, pasted on the canvas are mini soldiers. And you said that resonated with you because it's a painting in a painting, you know, as you get closer.
Yeah.
And that's the inspiration to some of your work now.
That's, I'm working in that way. I'm working freely first, and after that I discover that some spot looks like a face, or some spot looks like a tank, or some spot look like a landscape, and I try to add something to make it more to the people. It's a very interesting experience for a painter to work like that. I never worked like that before. I experiment a new way of working with your show. It happens to me about two or three times in my life. I'm very happy to work in that way. Carnival, it's absolutely great. It's perfect.
So the one thing that may have been different since you were here, have you seen the Robo Tank?
Oh, the Robo, yeah.
That's the only surviving one. That's
No
the last
kidding.
one. That's the last one. It's reasonably old, but from what I understand, that's the last one. No other one exists in London. So that is like the most important thing
Absolutely.
in the whole of Big Street Tunnel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you Taki?
Taki, no?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Black Laurent?
Yeah. You thought I was Taki 183?
Yes, I did.
Oh yeah, I love him.
You're
He's-
even more of an old school
He,
gangster.
he's
than
one of
Taki,
my
though.
best friends, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I love him. Taki 183?
Yeah.
I love
Black
him.
Laurent, you're a
Yeah,
fucking legend,
yeah.
man. So, I swear. Bless up, man. It's an honor to meet you, right?
Okay, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Wow, I love that.
So something like this, once it's done, it looks amazing. I wouldn't go over it, and no other artists, but the kids come along and the tourists, and they don't understand. But
Okay.
what they do is they destroy the piece,
Yeah.
and then it's okay for us to go over.
Okay.
So weirdly, tourists and street art workshops make it so that the whole thing keeps moving over.
Okay.
That's how it kind of weirdly works.
The Banksy, if I remember well, yeah, maybe here, or maybe here.
You know the guy that does the knocks the
it
piece.
was,
That was there.
Okay, so the Banksy was here.
there. Yeah, I thought so.
The Banksy was here. Yeah.
Long gone.
Yeah, long gone, yeah.
Unless it's really high up, nothing is sacred. People will go over it. And even if people don't go over it, the walls leak and it degrades, constantly degrading everything. Like one of your rats, if you did a rat here
Yeah.
and nobody touched it over time, it will die anyway because
Oh, yeah.
it fades or it.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
So that to me is stunning.
Okay.
You know, that's why I appreciate the space so much.
Yeah, you're right.
Xavier, congratulations on selling out
Thank you, Joe.
the Return of the Rat exhibition. Your first one in 10 years.
Yeah.
How has it been for you?
It's the most important show that I've made in my life. I have to agree that I worked so hard for 6 months on this show, and it's my most beautiful show that I've ever done in my life. The place is absolutely gorgeous in London. The people who are so really nice. Yet last night it was an incredible crowd, a lot of compliments, a lot of happiness and everything like that, you know.
I think it shows, because I think the crowd that come out to see you last night, they worked you hard.
Yeah.
There was a lot of signing of catalogues.
Yeah.
All of the works have sold.
Yeah.
I don't know how many exhibitions worldwide or in London at the moment are selling pre-show or on the night.
Yeah.
And I think that's testament to you and your historical importance. How does it make you feel when you create such phenomenal works, you get that good attention, but everything that you've created have sold, because you put a lot of energy into them works, right?
Oh, of course, I feel like a big success. It gives me the strength to continue my work and to work with you for the next show, maybe next December. It gives me the strength, you know, it gives me the opportunity to work again and to... This show, I give you 37 pieces. All pieces were sold in one night. It's absolutely incredible. It never happened to me before. You know, it's the first time that something like that happened to me.
Yeah.
You know, sold out in one night. Incredible.
This is a great place to talk about what you did recently for this particular show. 2008, you was invited down to Leek Street Tunnels by Banksy. You painted a very, very monumental piece, and then you came back to London before this show to do a piece of art, a mural, which actually is very similar to this canvas work on the wall, which is called Red Leopard.
Yeah, if I remember well, 2009, I was invited by Banksy to add my work in Leek Street. It was a lot of energy and love of creation. At that time, I was making The Man Who Walks Through the Walls. I was not known at that time in London, you know, so people was interested, but they asked me, who are you, Mr. Blek, where you come from, or something like that. And yeah, I loved it. But now, this time, I was invited by the Leek Street program to make some stencil. This time I was painted this tank, so it's a tribute to Ukraine, to say we're gonna help them in this war. We cannot bring soldiers, but we bring weapons, and it's a tribute to this country.
And you mentioned you've been to Ukraine before, which leads me on to this particular piece.
Yes, that I made in Lviv, near the Poland border.
The title of this particular image is called Song for the Dead.
Yeah.
So on the face of it, this clear example of what you're trying to say with the musical instrument, the guy looking out into the abyss. But then also you see the skull, the hidden skull down here, there's a crown. Maybe that could be a nod to Jean-Michel Basquiat, I'm not too sure. But the clearer obvious thing, after your explanation, is the colours, blue and yellow, which is a nod to their flag.
Flag, yeah.
So it brings us on to our next piece, which is a beautiful lady. And on the face of it, it looks like a beautiful ballerina, but in actual fact, there's a more in-depth message, which...
Yeah, actually, I was invited in Dubai, Emirates, to paint some characters in City Walk in Dubai. They asked me to make a character, and I asked the permission to make a woman dancing in the street. At the beginning, they were a little bit anxious about that. After a dinner, they accepted the message. So I put this character of a dancing woman. It was 10 years ago, I think, 2015, and it's still there. They didn't remove it, so they must like it, yeah. It's the first time that I'm using silver color as a background. It's the first time that I use it. It's also kind of tribute to Richard Hambleton, who was working on silver many times also. It takes a long time actually. It looks like it has been done in 5 minutes, but people ask to Picasso how long it takes to you to make a painting, and he answered 5 minutes and 20 years. So it's the same thing, you know. It looks like it has been done very easily and quick, but it's a long process of working. And so when I prepare a show, I live with my painting, you know, every day, and I change it every day. Also, it's never ending, you know. It's always something that I rework, and I find new shape and new form of texture, and it's a very long process.
It's good. Well, it's come out exceptionally. And you said before that when you paint these larger works, or when you paint any works, because you're primarily a street artist, you're imagining that it's a wall. So you're trying to get this perspective in front of you that it's a street wall, and you keep doing the layers and layers and layers until you feel that texture.
Yeah.
And talk to me about the size and that helping you. It's easier to do when it's larger, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For example, I first paint the silver color, after I paint the black, and after that I repaint a layer of silver, after black, after silver, after black. Maybe there is 10 layers of different black and silver.
So your early messaging was about taking the artworks out of the museums onto the street, so they was for everybody, not just the select few.
Yeah.
So we've got the infamous Mona Lisa here.
Yeah.
So that was your early objective, to give art to everybody, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I try to introduce people to the art, you know. Many people don't go to museum and don't have the opportunity to appreciate, you know, old art. It's a kind of interesting to take an image from the museum and put it in the street and to see the reaction of the people. This right represents an artist, you know, the new artist with the sunglasses, and a few years ago it was a fashion for the artist to wear a hat like that. So he has a spray can, and he just made this crown taken from Basquiat crown. Yeah, it's just for fun, you know.
It's a nice nod to recognition.
Yeah.
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 I've got to say, my favourite piece in here today, if I could walk away with any of them, and I would try and take as many as I could, obviously, would be this masterpiece right here. And the reason being is because I like the colour. I love grey. I think grey is a really, really cool image because you can play around with it with different colours and different textures. I love the title, which is called Society Time Bomb. Now, over the last few years, the economy, the world, have gone through a series of different changes. This means, the message means so much to so many different people. For me, it's almost like society is ready to explode, or worse still, implode. It means that it's not the outside world, it's the inside world that is causing the problems. That's what I take from it.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on that particular
No,
piece?
really, it's the same. Same perspective. You said exactly what I'm feeling about the society too, especially in France. I don't know in England. I'm against violence, but I can understand when people react in violence against the society, against the establishment. I can understand it, you know. The initial stencil was this young guy playing with the balls, and I don't know if you notice it, but the cap is a Woodbury house cap. This part here had the fuse on the balls to change the meaning of the ball in a bomb, which can happen in the street. You know, when I leave a character in the street, the day after some guy had something, you know, sometimes they had a fuck you Blek or something like that. I wanted to make it like someone had this fuse and write on this side, take it society, take the bomb, take it society, you know. I'm going to throw the bomb to the society, you know, bomb it.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
And you said growing up, Xavier, that perhaps this could be you because you felt like an outsider at times when you was at school, you struggled, you didn't enjoy it, you didn't feel like that was the right path for you. You tried to study your mother and father, but you didn't feel like you fit in, and perhaps that could be you on the outside of society.
Yeah, absolutely. In every painting that I made, it's a part of me, you know. It's a part of me. So it's really what I'm thinking about the society. I feel like an anarchist since this painting represents exactly what I think of the society, of the life, and how to fight the society, and yeah.
Absolutely. And this must have been exciting to do, right? Yeah. The Union Rat. You haven't been here in so long. It's been over 10 years since you exhibited here. So to put your rat on the iconic Union Jack flag,
yeah,
that must have been a good feeling.
Yeah. I love England. You know, since my youth, and I used to come in England when I was a kid with my parents, and after I used to come alone, hitchhiking. Also, I hitchhiked a lot in England when I was young. So I love, and also your flag is so beautiful. And also so difficult to represent. Yeah, it's a very complex flag.
Does this need any explanation?
So this is the face of Richard Hambleton, who was my favorite street artist of all the time. For those who don't know his work, he's called the Shadow Man, and he was making huge characters. I really love this guy, you know. I never met him, but I have a kind of connection with him through his work, through his way of thinking, you know, also. And when I was working, I assure you it's true, when I was working on those different paintings, I really thought that my hand was guided by Richard. You know, my hand, when I was working, Blek, do it like that, you know, paint like that. I was guided by him. So it seems crazy, but it's true.
Yeah. I feel that image there really reflects on the image that most people should have of Richard Hambleton, a young, good-looking pop star, rock star,
absolutely,
type of guy.
He was very handsome, you know.
And you know, it's a cigarette. You know that makes him a bit of a rebel, but at the same time, very cool. The square jawline, but also not looking centre, looking away. Is he thinking about his next painting? Is he thinking about his next task? Is he thinking about the people around him? Who knows?
Yeah.
But for me, this is one of the best poses and stances by Richard Hambleton, and I think you've really captured, you know, his thoughts, his feelings, and who he truly was before sadly he deteriorated.
Yeah, terrible, yeah.
And just to give things a little bit more context there, so for people who don't know, you visited New York, 1971.
Yeah.
You're with your friend Larry.
Yeah.
You're looking around and you're seeing graffiti everywhere.
Everywhere.
And you was totally gripped by it. You go back to Paris, you're still thinking about it, but you don't want to imitate the New York tag on the streets of Paris because of the different architecture. Yeah. So you sit on it, you then come up with the stencil form of graffiti, but we start with the rat. That's what you're known for. But the reason this gentleman means so much to you is in 1983, Richard visits Paris. You see one of his shadow figures for the first time, and the impact, the energy that you got from that was the moment that you perhaps had a light bulb moment. I need to do bigger.
Absolutely.
I need to impose bigger for that impactful statement.
Absolutely. I saw the impact of his work in the street of Paris, and I decided to make big stencil at that time, 1983. My first stencil, just a few months or few weeks after I saw his work.
Did you know who he was at that time, or did you see it and then look into it?
No, I didn't know his name. I saw his work because at that time we didn't have internet, you know, so it was very difficult to have information on people. In my humble opinion, he is the most important artist of street art of all the time. You know, of course, many good, very good artists since him, you know, worked in the street and make beautiful things and very interesting things. It was the roots of street art. For 30 years, he brought everything to the street art. You know, since 1969, Philadelphia with cornbread and turkey. So the evolution was enormous. Enormous. At that time, in 1969, only few artists was involved in street art. They didn't call it street art at that time, you know, but only few people was involved. But now, when you count the number of pieces, the number of artists every day who are working in the streets, you know, it's absolutely huge, huge. None of art movement have known something like that, you know. It's an incredible movement. It's the most important movement of all the time in art, you know. And I'm sure we are living the beginning of this movement, you know. 50 or 60 years after the beginning, we are still in the beginning. 21st century will be the expansion of street art and public art, I will say public art. And I don't know how the young generation will evolve the movement. I don't know how they will do it because I have no idea, but I'm sure they're going to work differently. Even now, you know, when you see people like Space Invaders, like Shepard Fairey, Jenkins, like so many different artists who are working in the streets, and they give a different message to the people. They use different techniques also. So it's a part of the evolution of this movement, and it's an absolutely great movement. I'm very proud to belong to this movement and to have bring my little stone in the path of this movement.
I think it's a big stone.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No, it's small, but it's something.
I think it's fair to say the rat has returned.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you,
and
Steve.
It's been an absolute honour.
Well done for selling out the show, mate.
Joe.
Can we do something again? The London people, you're going to come back and see them again?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Let's get planning.
Yeah, let's get planning in a few months.
Well done, mate.
Okay, Joe.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.